folks, on this episode of Hit the Mahogany, we are going to do a little bit of the Charlie Brown, I suppose. It's the Great Pumpkin. That's what we're going to do. We're going to try a few pumpkin cocktails, see which one, are any of them actually good? I don't really know. You know, you're definitely putting, is it a vegetable or is it a fruit? We're adding something to some kind of spirit, so let's give it a shot and see what we can do. We'll start simple, a little bit medium, then a little bit more complex at the end, and hopefully out of one of these there'll be something that we'll enjoy. I am actually going to say that I have not tried one single one of these, and nor have I ever tried a pumpkin cocktail whatsoever. However, pumpkin beers, a couple of really good ones out there. Local here, you know, the Cambridge Pumpkin, that's a good one. Bottled ones, if you're looking for one, Post Road is a really good clean beer. And if you want something that actually tastes, it's pretty strong beer, tastes like pumpkin pie. But if you can get your hands on the Southern Tier Pumpkin, it is a fantastic beer, honestly. Give it a shot. I love it. I love it. All right, what are we going to start with? We're going to try a pumpkin old fashioned. All right, I think we're stretching the term old fashioned here a little bit, but you know, we'll give it a shot. All right. Sorry to say this, but some decent bourbon going into this one. I'm actually going to make two of these. Okay, so this one, we are going to use for each one 2 ounces of bourbon. Hopefully I've just got enough of this Angel Envy. 2, and since I'm making 2, it's going to be 4 in total. And that just did it just right, actually. Sorry guys, that's me out of the Angel Envy now. Alright, okay. What else do we need in here? Well, we need some form of pumpkin itself, you know? Because this isn't really a regular one that's stuck in my head. I do have to look at refresh my memory a little bit on the ingredients here actually. But what we're actually going to use is pumpkin puree. Now this isn't pumpkin pie filling, it is just pumpkin puree. That's all that it is, no flavours, no spices or anything like that added to it. Now it's a tablespoon for each drink in here then. I've got 2, that's 2 tablespoons that are in there. Well, that was you may not have heard that, but that was certainly an interesting sound, a dollop of pumpkin puree going into the bottom there of some bourbon. There's just something, it doesn't seem quite right adding pumpkin to bourbon. Whatever, we'll give it a shot anyway. Half ounce of maple syrup, so this is actually 1 ounce of maple syrup that I've already got here. Don't use pancake syrup, it hasn't been anywhere near a maple tree. Get your hands on some proper maple syrup. Now this is your sweetener, of course, clearly. Great flavour as well. Now when you're making an old fashioned, generally you're going to use something maybe Demerara, Turbinado or a dark sugar, not just a white sugar as the flavouring. The maple syrup kind of reflects that a little bit. Not quite the same, but you get the gist of it anyway. Okay, pumpkin pie spice. Don't go heavy on this, it's actually 1/4 for each one. So I'm actually going to put in a half, maybe just a little bit less than a half. I don't want these spices to overpower. And if you actually think about it, these spices, they're not being cooked at all. So they can have a bit of a raw taste to them. And if you put too much in, it's going to come across as being too bitter. That's why you cook the spices. You want to get the flavour out of them, but you don't want them to be bitter as well. I'm sure you've been through that where you might have added a little bit of extra chilli powder at the end because you want it spiced up, but then it kind of has more of a grainy, raw, and there is a bitterness that comes through there a little bit as well. Of course, I did mention pumpkin pie earlier on. We have vanilla essence that we're going in here. This is, again, a 1/4. Is it a 1/4? Yeah, it is. It's a 1/4 teaspoon for each one. So I've actually got half a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Now this is natural vanilla essence, so it has been extracted from vanilla pods. It's not vanilla flavouring, which you may find if you actually look at the back of the ingredients, a little bit interesting, even though it tastes very similar. Vanilla flavouring is generally from vanillin, which is an extract from wood. You ever wondered why some of your bourbons and some of your whiskies that have been aged have a bit of a vanilla flavour? Guess where that comes from? Some of it comes actually from the wood itself, and some of those cheaper vanilla flavourings are using that extract. Get your hands on some proper vanilla essence if you can. Be careful though, double strength, single strength, you don't want to put too much in there and overpower it. Alright, old fashioned, going to do bitters here as well. Now you can use Angostura bitters. I just happen to fancy, I just like orange bitters in my old fashioned, so I'm going to stick with that one for this. So 1 dash for each one. We'll put in a little bit extra there. Not too much, that was about 1.5 that went in there actually. So I think we have everything. We've got our bourbon, pumpkin puree, maple syrup, spice, vanilla, and our bitters. Alright, let's add some ice to this nightmarish concoction, which I'm sure, you know, this time of year it's probably the right time to have something like this, you know. There we go. Let's give this one a shake up, okay? Oh, cold. Done. Alright. I'm going to have a look at this one first before I strain it out. Top off there. Makes it easier. Certainly an interesting colour, that is for sure. Give it a quick shake up again. Okay. Old fashioned, what type of ice you use? Get your king cubes out. Control your dilution. It's just the same. Okay, get that in there. Whoop. All right, strain, double strain. If you want a little bit more body in it, I suppose you could leave most of the pumpkin puree in there. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to try double straining that. Double straining just means that you have a fine sieve straining straight out there, but you know the holes are much bigger. So let's double strain this and see what happens. Well, that's interesting because that is such a fine sieve. As I said, I haven't tried these ones before. Because that's such a fine sieve, it's actually blocked that up. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's just skip that, because clearly that will not work. It was just a shot to try it. Now we know, and now you know as well. So let's just pour this straight in here. Yep. It certainly has an orange colour to it, that's for sure. Just swirl this around to free up the juices a little bit. Alright. Is it carrot or is it pumpkin? Ah well. Alright, we have it. Garnish? What do you think we have for garnish for this? I think we do... Let's do cinnamon for this one, okay? I'm just going to sit that right on top of my king cube. Put it on this one, I think it'll sit better. Oh, it's floating. Nice little balance there. Alright. Wish me luck with this one, okay? This is the pumpkin bourbon. Pumpkin old fashioned, sorry. Well, there's bourbon, there's pumpkin, spice, again because it's not cooked, it kind of, with the pumpkin in there, there's almost a dryness, almost like a tannin that comes through with that. Vanilla doesn't come in too strong. It's actually quite a strong drink because there's not much else in it beyond the actual pumpkin that's in there. But it's novel, it's not bad, interesting mouthfeel because of all that pumpkin puree. Of course a little bit of graininess there. But you know what? I think if it was just something simple and you only had pumpkin puree and you wanted to try something, try it with your guests. It's not bad actually, it's not bad. I don't know if I could drink these all night. Well, I'd probably give it a try, but I don't think I could. And the great thing is it's actually not too sweet. It's not sickly. So anyway, not bad. You might see at the end how we rate each of these ones, okay? Anyway, let's finish with this one and move on to the next one. So cheers, enjoy the pumpkin old fashioned. Alright, let's move on to the next one. We are, you know, a little twist of one here. Let's move on to, let's try using a whiskey. I just call it whiskey, but a lot of people, it's a Scotch. So we shall try we'll just call it a pumpkin Scotch cocktail. Alright, so here, got the Highland Park, great one. What we're going to do is 1.5 ounces for each one, so that's going to be 3 in total. I'm going to make 2 again. Can't be selfish and just make 1. So there's 2 ounces, and then 1 ounce. Fantastic. Alright. Had some challenges with the cork in this one. You may notice that. Alright. Apple cider, 1.5 ounces for each one. I came over here and apple cider was cider. That's just what I know it as. It's alcoholic. Over here, apple cider is generally not alcoholic. You know, it's maybe pressed, and it's basically just, in some respects, it's just apple juice more than anything else. Yeah, clear apple juice, you get apple cider, with alcohol and no alcohol in it. Just how complex can you make friggin' apple juice? Of course, then you distill it and you get Calvados. Now that's a different story. And then you could do other stuff with it, like Applejack. I've already seen some of the Calvados cocktails already. Anyway, the Royale sidecar, the DeVille Sidecar Royale, which is a really good version of the sidecar, which I did a couple of episodes ago. Anyway, I am actually going to use alcoholic cider. You use whatever you want. Apple juice, apple cider, whatever. Of course, this has got a little bit of a fizz to it. It's 1.5 again, so it's going to be 3 that we actually use in here. It blazes. Okay, so it's a little bit of extra alcohol. Who cares, you know? If you've seen, this is ginger syrup, so you have to make up the ginger syrup beforehand. It's pretty easy and quick to actually make. If you've already done the penicillin, where I kind of do use mostly muddled ginger, but sometimes you know, you can get away with actually using ginger syrup itself, and then the amoxicillin as well, where you've actually got a ginger syrup in that one. So if you've made yourself up some ginger syrup, here's another way that you can actually use it. So this is 3/4 of an ounce of ginger syrup. So that's going to sweeten this up quite a bit. We'll see how that has a effect on it. So since that was 3/4, it's 1.5. Just a fraction shy, you know, because not one for everything being completely sweet. And then lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. So now you're getting your citrus and getting the sour into this as well. So that's going to be 1 ounce in total. This should ring it all together very nicely. And then the next one, you're going to ask, what the blazes is that you're talking about? Pumpkin butter. Yep. So, pumpkin butter, you can actually buy it. Basically, you can buy it, but I couldn't get my hands on any, so I actually had to make up this pumpkin butter. And there's a lot of recipes for it. Basically what you're doing is you're taking pumpkin puree, you're adding some form of sugar, maple syrup, or brown sugar, some spices, maybe a little bit of vanilla in there. And really what you're doing is you're heating it. This is done for about 30 to 40 minutes. And really what you're doing is you're kind of cooking out the moisture from your pumpkin puree, and you end up with this thickened version of puree. It's absolutely delicious, actually. My first time trying it. You can buy it in supermarkets. I don't know about in the UK. You could probably, you know what, you could probably get away with, I'm going to push it a little bit, maybe pumpkin pie filling with maybe some maple syrup added, but it's going to maybe be a little bit too wet, and because it's wet, it's not as concentrated in the flavour. Give it a shot. Just try whatever you can. I've got this one here anyway. I tasted it earlier. You can use it on toast afterwards as well. Toast! Alright. 1 tablespoon for each one. So that's about 1, 2, oh god, another dollop going in there. Okay, there we go. That is 2 tablespoons of our pumpkin butter. That is us. Oh, ice. Got to shake this one and get this one chilled down as well. Okay. That should do us. You know, I've spoken about it, as we said, the penicillin, what you know, adding that to Scotch whiskey. You know, there's a lot of people who are going to have nightmares over that one. And now I'm adding pumpkin butter to Scotch whiskey. Well, you know what? As it stands alone by itself, it's a great drink. Adding it to something else can only make that drink better as well, you know? Alright, because I've got the fizzy drink in here, I'm going to hold this. So we'll get this one shaken up. Cold, done. Where's my napkin? Lost it. Okay. Anyway, as we learned, double straining wasn't working particularly well. Again, king cubes. Get yourself one of these ice molds. I mean, really is worth the investment. They're not that expensive. Okay. Now this was trying to pop because of the fizz there. Let's just strain this straight in, see what we actually get. Slightly darker colour because of that pumpkin butter that we used there. A little bit more juice in this one because of the other ingredients, particularly the citrus and some of that ginger syrup. I'm hopeful for this one actually. Now again, you can use whatever you want to actually garnish this one. Cinnamon stick might work well as well, but you know what, just so I can differentiate between the two, even though the other one I've got here is a little bit darker orange, I won't bother putting the garnish on this one, and we'll just give this one a taste. Again, first time making pumpkin butter, first time doing this to whiskey. Let's give it a taste, see what it's like. Hopefully it's not horrific. Quite pleasant actually. Because of the ginger in there, it's a little bit reminiscent of a penicillin. I think it's a fraction too sweet for my taste buds. You know, 1.5 ounces of simple syrup, even though it's got the ginger in it, doesn't quite, even though there's lemon, either adding a little bit more lemon or reducing the syrup. I think maybe adding a little bit more lemon might actually balance this one out just a fraction better. Otherwise, not bad. Not bad at all. Again, you've got that mouthfeel because of the pumpkin puree, but if you accept that, then that's actually not a bad one. I'd say that's, I think I prefer that one over the first one. If you're looking, if you actually wanted to do something like a penicillin with that, you know what you could do is you could get your Lagavulin, your Ardbeg I should say, get a smoky whiskey and put a float on top of that, and basically you're going to have, in all honesty, you're going to have pretty close to pumpkin penicillin. Well, there we go. A bit of alliteration there, pumpkin penicillin. Alright, let's finish this one up. We'll move on to the next one. Alright, cheers. Enjoy your pumpkin whiskey cocktail. Or maybe we'll just call this one a pumpkin penicillin and get something like an Ardbeg on top of it. Alright, cheers. Alright, that's the orange ones out of the way. Maybe we can try something a little bit more neutral. We'll see what happens here with this one. What are we going to do? We're going to jump to mezcal. Smoky cousin of tequila. Absolutely fantastic. Hold on. Let's get the cork out of this baby. Oh, that's a great smell. Wow. Love mezcal. Really good in cocktails. Adds so much body and flavour to it. Yeah, it's clean. You know, it is. It's very refreshing. You know, tequila, mezcal. Absolutely delicious. Alright. This one, I'm going to be using... So Daisy, 1 second. Somebody said if you drop something, don't pick it up while you're on video. I can't leave that lying around. It landed up the right way, which was good. Alright, 1.5 ounces. I'm making 2 here, so it's 1.5 ounces for each one. So this is going to be 3 in total. My fractions were never good at school. Math was always a struggle. Maybe drinking too many beers and actually started. Ciders was the big one to start with actually. 3/4 ounce of lime juice. So that's going to be about 1.5. Hopefully running a bit low on lime juice here, but I think we will have just enough lime juice. Easy goes, there we go. 1.5 of, well, 3/4 for each one, so that was 1.5 there. I mentioned ginger syrup earlier on. This one, yeah, there's a little bit of extra legwork in this one. Don't want that one, that's my ginger syrup. I want this one, cinnamon syrup. Basically the same idea, simple syrup, 1:1. Cinnamon, simmer it for 3 minutes. Cinnamon, simmer it for 3 minutes. Simmer the cinnamon for 3 minutes, and then leave it to steep for 3 minutes, and then you're ending up with your cinnamon syrup. Cinnamon syrup. There we go. We're actually going to use ½ ounce for each, so it's going to be 1 ounce of the cinnamon syrup. Now again, I'm actually going to just put in 3/4 for both there. I generally find some of these can be a little bit on the sweet side, some of the recipes that I come across. Cinnamon syrup. Oh, that's great. Okay, we have that. We're back to our pumpkin butter again. So that's why this one's at the end. A little bit more legwork again with this one. This one says 1 bar spoon for each one, so it's roughly about 1 teaspoon to be honest. So we'll put in about that amount for each one, okay? Okay, that's in there. And then about ½ ounce of egg white for each one. So again, you can use fresh egg white if you want, or you can use pasteurised. These just happen to be pasteurised ones, but I use either, to be honest. I like living on the edge. And what you're going to do first of all, to get a bit of a froth built up, you dry shake. What? It's all wet! Dry shake just means don't put ice in it. So you're actually going to shake this up like this. Now, what you have to be careful of is with the egg white, it does tend to want to get out of here. Okay, there we go. You're going through a bit of emulsification as well as frothing. So you start this way first of all. Whoop, that popped. Alright, let's get that off. Now what we want to do is we now want to chill it down. That should do us. Okay. Alright. Let's get this puppy chilled down. Whew, cold. Oh, come on, martini glasses, you know. Let's go for it. Jack and Jill. That's what this one is. Jack and Jill. A couple of characters in a reasonably well-known animation. Soap animation. A Nightmare Before Christmas. Question is it a Christmas film or is it a Halloween film? I wonder what the votes would say on that one. For me, it's both. Anyway, you know. So it's a fantastic, it really is. Tim Burton there, my goodness, what a fantastic film. It really is great. Anyway, there are some recipes out there for various types of Jack and Jill cocktails. This is one that I came across which seemed not quite as sweet, didn't have marshmallows and stuff like that, and it seemed actually a reasonably decent drink to actually try. So we'll give this a shot. Oh my goodness, now I can't get into it. There we go, got it. There we go. Reasonably pleasant colour, not too orange fluorescent. Nice little bit of foam on the top there from the egg white, definitely. There we go. And just for a bit of class on this one, what we got? A bit of grated nutmeg. Let's get that on the top. Just a little bit. Fresh nutmeg grate. If you don't have fresh, just get, you know, shake out the shaker just a little bit there. Okay. That is us. So the Jack and Jill. Mezcal based. Bit of pumpkin butter. Looks good. Let's give this little baby a taste. I think we have a winner. A little bit more work in that one. Interesting, the egg white helps with that roughness mouthfeel of the pumpkin. Nutmeg's great smell on the nose as you're actually drinking it. tequila, it's there. The smokiness goes actually pretty well with the pumpkin. You know, it's actually almost reminds me of, because you've got the cinnamon syrup in there giving a little bit of a spice to it. It's almost as though it's like a roasted poblano pepper or something like that. There's just that kind of hint of this, even although it's not spicy in that way, like a chili or something of that type. It's packed with flavour. I actually really like that one. Again, the mouthfeel a little bit dense because of that pumpkin in there, but that actually that works a treat. Okay, everybody, I'll finish this one and then we'll go through the review. Okay, enjoy your Jack and Jill pumpkin cocktails. Okay. Cheers. All right, let's keep going. That's it with the pumpkin cocktails. So the first one we had was the pumpkin old fashioned. That's funny, it started to separate there a little bit. And then we had the pumpkin scotch, which is pretty close to, in all honesty, a pumpkin penicillin. You can see the pumpkin's actually sinking to the bottom in both of these now. It's going to be tricky to take a picture of these ones after this. Order? Nah. Number one, a little bit too thick, a little bit too dense. Not much roundness in the flavours. Number two, definitely. You know what? You got Scotch in the house. I think adding a little smoky malt to the top of that, it's going to get a pumpkin penicillin. Can't knock it. Definitely, that's not bad. This one though, brighter flavour. Mezcal's going well. That cinnamon syrup's just bolstering. You know what? You're looking for something spicy, something with a bit of pumpkin, something that just kind of makes you think about this time of year. That one does it. So my winner is going to be the Jack and Sally, this version of a Jack and Sally, and it's absolutely delicious. So I'm going to polish this one off. So everybody, enjoy whichever pumpkin cocktail that you actually decide to take. Don't turn it into a nightmarish night. Be careful what you actually drink. And enjoy the horrors. Alright, cheers.